What's up, fellas? YouTube's fighting me on my damn thumbnail. Larger than 2 megabytes. It's like 2.1, cheap bastards. Robbie Stingle, Timothy Plunk, Quentin James, Charles 75N. Quentin J. Who the hell you call me? Who the hell you calling youngster? I know it ain't me. I turned 45 here in a few weeks. So, I was just sitting here chilling out, and, Jack Collins. I'm sorry, I completely forgot Jack Collins. Said, hello, Robert, your friend from Louisiana. Thank you, sir. I am doing well. Hope you're doing well as well. So, hopefully, the stream is a little bit more stable. It seemed to be better last week, but my camera, I had my camera set up in 4K, which is fine. That's generally how I prefer to shoot most of my videos these days. But in this instance, it's it crops way in, so you get my head, and that's like about it. And it is what it is. It was just a little too cramped feeling, so I knocked all my settings back down to 1080p, so the resolution might not be quite as good for the live stream, but other than me telling you guys, I doubt you'll notice, so at least I hope you won't. Robert, I fell in love with your new guitar with Sustainiac. Thank you, man. That's the new Schecter, Sun Valley Super Shredder. I demoed one of those, a buddy of mine's, on my channel like 3 or 4 years ago, and fell in love with it, and just now got around to buying one for myself. Since then they've come out with, when I first demoed those, I mean, they had like, most of them were like 80s style solid color type finishes, which are cool, and they still make a lot of them. But then a buddy of mine, I saw, matter of fact, it was my buddy Tony Ramsey. He got the Blue Rain. And I looked at that, I was like, holy shit, that's a kick-ass looking guitar. So I did some digging, and I found they made a blue or green and a red, and I really, really like the red. And I like the green the best, but that one came with the maple fretboard, and I wanted ebony, so that's why I went with the red. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's a cool guitar. I definitely recommend it. $9.99 is what they sell for. Yeah, it's a solid $1,000 guitar. Flux, that's some nice looking gear behind you. Thank you. I need to straighten up in here a little bit. I mean, I want to get back to shooting more videos in here, but right now, honestly, this recording interface has been giving me fits, and I need to get one of my actual studio recording buddies over here to go through everything and figure out what the hell's the problem is with it, because I can only get input 1 out of a 26 by 32 interface. So of all the inputs on this thing, I got one good one, and that's what this microphone's plugged into. The rest of them all of a sudden just up and died on me one day. I don't know what the hell's going on with it. I'm sure it's a setting somewhere, but I have no idea where to look. Hey, Zim's Guitars is in here. What's up, dude? Hope you guys are doing well out there in your part of the world. Out in the desert, if you will. Kurt Schmidt says, hi, everyone. I'm a bassist and a guitarist. I'm a guitar player that has a couple of basses for when I need to track a bass every now and again. I have played bass in a band before, but I don't pretend like I'm a bass player. But I played bass in a band before, I mean like I was the full-time bass player. And, matter of fact, 2 of the guys that I was in that band with, just asked me if I wanted to come play bass in their current band. And, I decided, I was real close to doing it, and I decided not to, just because I've got some some other things in my personal life going on right now that are honestly are far more important and require my attention. So Ricky Compton's here. Good to see you. Let's see. Quentin James says I have the HSS Super Shredder 3, and love it. Yeah, all those Schecter Super Shredder guitars are killer, man. I definitely recommend them. If you don't want the Sustainiac, get one without the Sustainiac and save yourself $100. They make them with and without. Flux says, which one of the pedals behind you is your favorite and why? Wow. Well, honestly, in here, man, I couldn't even be, man. I mean, what you guys can see on camera is about, is probably less than half of what I have in this room, and probably about a quarter of what I actually own. But of the ones that you can actually see, man. Let's see. You guys can't see it, and see on the shelf, but this one's up there. This is the Tone City Model M. This is their Marshall in a box, plexi style distortion. That one and they make a smaller version too, a little mini size stomp box called the Golden Plexi. Those are two of the best, my favorite Marshall in a box sounds that I've, Marshall in a box style pedals that I've ever heard. In here, God, what else do I got? You guys can just kind of sort of see the, if you look underneath, just past the V, this V that is, right in this neighborhood, you can just barely see the Jupiter Effects pedals that I have. There's 3 of those. I got the Super Weirdo, the Fernweh, and the Jive. All those are a little bit weird for my taste, but Chris Jupiter's such an awesome guy. I can't help but love those things. The Biang metal ends, which are on the very back of this shelf here. There's the Metal End Pro and the Metal End King. I've got both versions of that. Of everything in here, though, that you can see, one of my favorites is probably going to be over this shoulder. And they're all the way in the back of the room, so it's going to be hard for you to see them. But there is the Peppers Pedals Satanist Distortion, which is kick-ass. There is the High Wind Amplification Direwolf Overdrive, which is kick-ass. And there is the Parks Custom Pedals Nanerta Overdrive, which is also kick-ass. So I suppose of all the ones that are visible on camera right now, I would probably be one of those 3. See, Civinity says, why hitting strong now? A lot of you jumped in the chat pretty quick here. Looks like we got 15 of you, 15 of you in here that are currently hanging out right now. Ricky Compton's Schecter guitars are the best guitar for value and playability. For imports, I would say yes. No question about that. As far as imports go, it's pretty tough to beat the value of a Schecter. American made, I gotta go with Music Man on that one. If you look past all the Petrucci's, which are those things start at like $3,000 now, and most of them are up around $4,000, with a few of them up in the $5,000 range. So if you look past all the Petrucci stuff, the Majesties in particular, as much as I love that guitar, it's my favorite guitar. But if you look past the rest of that stuff, you look at like the Stingrays and the really most of them. I mean, you look at that same guitar and in a Fender or something like that, whatever, something that it's competing with, and it's probably $500 less and probably built better. Ernie Ball's good stuff, man. Cian Harcourt says, hey, I don't know. Honestly, that looks like somebody's trying to get me to say something to get me demonetized. Kurt Schmidt says, I prefer BC Rich basses and guitars. I'm sitting directly underneath 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 BC Rich guitars at the moment as I sit here. You guys can't see it. You guys can see this Flying V. The one right here that's just barely off camera is my my trusty BC Rich NJ Series Eagle bass from. That's there was ones that were made between. It was the Nectar ones that were made between 78 and 82. It's real hard to. Those are real hard to date because they ended up selling way more of those than they ever expected to. And as a result, they ran out of serial numbers, like the entire run of serial numbers, in within the first year. So now they've all got like 82. They all have 82-ish serial numbers from that era. So then he says, "Hey Robert, y'all got snow?" Yeah, my wife said it was supposed to snow this morning. I thought she was joking, and I wanted to cut the grass this morning because it's cold. It's not growing any, but I want to cut it one more time. Just for the winter, and and also now there's a bunch of leaves and shit on it, and mowing them's a lot easier than raking them. So. My wife told me it's supposed to snow this morning, and I thought she was joking. I woke up this morning, she'd already left for work. I woke up this morning, a bunch of snow on the ground. Turns out she was serious. I don't know how much, but I think it's still going too. I can see across the field in my backyard now, so I couldn't do that. I couldn't see all the way across an hour ago. It was all white. Shit blowing everywhere. Let's see. Quentin says, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. It was 70 yesterday, snow today. Yeah, it wasn't 70 yesterday, but I was walking outside to the mailbox in shorts and a sleeveless shirt without any complaints at all. Very, very comfortably. Ricky Compton says, Robert, have you tried the Ibanez 808 Tube Screamer hand-wired yet? Years ago, I did. The TS808 HW, I'm sure is what you're, I'm assuming is what you're referring to. I played one, 10, 12, 15 years ago. That model's been out for a long time. But yeah, I played one at the time. I remember, when I was at the store, I remember they were, they were reselling used for, I think we resold that one for like $350. The one I'm thinking of in particular, the first time I tried one. It was in good condition, had the original, the box and the packaging is kind of a big deal with those. But I've played them, it sounds like a tube screamer, tone wise. I don't, especially when you're running it into a high gain amp or any amp for that matter. I don't, there's, hand wired versus, PCB or, the production models. There's tone-wise, there's not really anything special about it, I don't think. You're paying for the additional man hours going into making it. So, but the advantage of hand-wired gear is obviously, if something does go out with it, it's a lot easier to repair than it is something with a PCB in it. Archer says, holy crap, Batman, look at all those guitars. Some is good, more is better, too much is just right. Well, I do have a lot. I've actually got a few of them for sale. I mean, it's gotten to the point that I now own too many. And so I do have a few of them that I don't play anymore. That I've sold a couple, and I've got a couple more listed. And honestly, the bigger, normally I just deal with it, but the bigger motivation is, I need the money for family stuff right now. So, that is the major. That's the biggest motivator. So, as for the first part of your statement, holy crap, Batman! Did you guys hear about Kevin Conroy? If you guys didn't notice the title of this week's live stream, I wanted to pay tribute to one of my all-time favorite Batman actors. And if you're looking at me, say, who the hell is Kevin Conroy? Kevin Conroy, if you don't know who he is, he was the guy that portrayed that was the voice actor for Batman. He was the voice actor of Bruce Wayne and Batman and Bruce Wayne in the Batman the animated series from the 90s. And he also did the Arkham Knight, the Arkham series video games for PS3, 4, and 5. And as a matter of fact, I'm actually playing Arkham Knight right now on PS5. When and yesterday I got the news that Kevin Conroy had passed away. I was kind of shocked. He's my three favorite Batman actors. Three people I like that I think portrayed him the best, or that I like the best anyway, are in no particular order. Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Kevin Conroy. Not necessarily in that order, but Kevin Conroy. That I would come home after school every day in junior high and high school. Throughout the 90s, and watch Batman the animated series on TV after school every single day. So, he was like, I don't want to say he was the voice of my childhood, but he was the voice of Batman of my childhood. He was a really, really great, really good voice actor, and he died of cancer, and I think he was 66 or something. Unfortunately, he was pretty young. Elliot Brand, there in the super chat. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that very, very much. Let's see, guys. You guys are pretty active in the chat today. If I miss your, if you're asking me a question or something, I miss it, drop it down in the chat again. I'll try to keep up. Ricky Compton says, "Man, I gotta try and pick up a amp tweaker type metal, the first edition. I know you have one." Yes, I have the original version of the Type Metal Pro, which is pretty awesome. Arguably that one is probably my all-time favorite pedal, but that one's not in here. I really, really enjoy that one, but I have not heard the new version yet, and yeah, I haven't heard it yet. So I've heard. I've heard it's not as good as the original. I don't know that, though. Very likely the people saying that it's not as good as the first version are people that own the first version that heard the second one and are need to make their dicks feel bigger by saying so. Kurt Schmidt says, my influencers are Geezer Butler, Geddy Lee, and Tom Araya. That's a pretty man. You could do a lot worse. You could do a lot of work. Yeah, Geezer Butler, I don't think he gets the credit that he does, man. That dude was he's a hell of a bass player. We did that band I was telling you about that I play bass in. I think we played War Pigs, was it? I think it was War Pigs that we had in our set list, and I remember it took me a while to be able to. I mean, the bass line itself wasn't all that difficult. It was a little bit more complex than some of the other stuff we were playing. But it's just it was fast. It was faster, and to play it in his style, was a lot different from what I was used to. So. Cool Guitar Gear says, haha, I'm in northern Ontario, no snow yet. Must be nice. But, usually, if we got snow right now, that means you're probably not too far behind. Especially if it's going on that, that upward northeastern trajectory like it sometimes likes to do. Let's see. Elliot Brand says, please tell us you have a reverse flying V up there. No, I don't have a reverse flying V. I will never own a reverse flying V. Nope. You got to go check out Samurai Guitar's channel for that. He loves that guitar. And he does own one. Robert, have you tried any of the rev pedals, G3, G4, G8? And I've tried the G2, the G3, and the G4. I know I'm familiar with all three of those. The G8 and the Tilt I have not tried yet. I actually reached out to Rev yesterday, and asked him about the Northern Mauler thing that they just came out with, because it's big and flashy, and Glenn was involved in that, and it's got a bunch of knobs and shit on it. So me as a guitar player, I had to caught my attention. But I never got a response. So looks like if I'm gonna demo it, I'm gonna have to pay for it. But I'm assuming is what that means. Let's see. Cool Guitar Gear says, I have the Tilt and love it. My favorite overdrive, but it's only moderate gain, nothing much through a clean amp beyond moderate crunch. And especially if you're using it as if you're using an overdrive pedal as a boost, I've determined that it doesn't really seem to matter which pedal you're using. Matter of fact, I proved that in a video that is going up tomorrow that you guys will get to see. And Paul Ewing's here. I don't know that you're that late. We've only been here chilling for 20-something minutes, so. GG and Stuff says Electro Phoenix are great guitars. 80s Japan, looks like a Strat, and an SG had a baby. I'm actually familiar with that guitar. I was in a band years ago with a dude that had one, and matter of fact, I was always trying to buy it from him. I was always trying to get him to sell it to me, but he wouldn't come off of it. It was a gift from his dad years and years ago. So, unfortunately, I couldn't. I never did get a hold of it. And I've never seen one since. I'm sure if I looked hard enough, I could find one. But no, I agree. Those are cool guitars. Flux, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy, forever the voice of Batman. Yes, he was. Or, yes, he will be. Spendy says he made an appearance in Batgirl as an alternate universe Batman. I heard that. I heard, he finally got to play a live-action version of Bruce Wayne once upon a time, in Batgirl or Batwoman or whatever. That I didn't see it, so but I heard he finally got to play a live action version of Batman before he died, which is cool. So yeah, voice actors, they don't get the respect that they deserve. I mean, he and who's that dude that did the voice for Optimus Prime? Peter. I can't remember his last name. Starts with a C. That dude's good too. But Kevin Conroy was the Batman. The Batman voice. Paul Ewing says this is the only bullshit-free site on YouTube. I appreciate you saying that, but I don't agree with it. There's plenty of other channels and creators that are not shy about about calling bullshit and not pulling any punches with when they see something they don't like. Henning has been real good about that. Glenn Fricker is real good about that. Glenn Fricker actually goes out of his way, to order shit from companies like, what guitar was it, or what it was. It was I think it was a Harley Benton guitar. It was one that came loaded with EMGs of some kind that, he had a friend of his down the street order it, or somebody in his area order it for him, so that, they didn't, the idea being that, he didn't want Toman to see that they were shipping a guitar to Glenn Fricker. So, so he had it ordered in another name. It sure, and so he wanted to make sure that he got the exact same out of the box experience anybody else would get. And he was not shy about calling out all the shit wrong that he found on it. So, and that's, I think people are a lot more, the creators are a lot more conscious about that than they used to be. We're all, now it's to the point now that, we've all, I pissed off a number of companies that will never work with me again because I was honest about their shit. Yeah, I get email. I got an email from a company recently that said, well, what you do a video of an unboxing and a demo and a positive review of it. So whoa. If you're gonna pay, if you want me to review a product, fine. But I determine whether it's positive or negative. You'll pay me for my services. You'll pay me for my labor. You'll pay me for my time and my time and effort and man hours and all that kind of stuff. You will not pay me for my opinion. Sometimes that scares them off too, to be honest with you. Oh well. Let's see. GG and stuff says, is it just my sound cutting in and out? Right here, my stream, my right now says excellent connection. That's where it's been the entire time. So, I'm not experiencing any audio problems here on my end. Everything seems to be going through just fine. Levels and everything are where they're supposed to be. Video image quality isn't quite as sharp as it was earlier for whatever reason, but let's see. Kurt Schmidt said, I like BC Rich for looks and playability, made in South Korea. I've always been attracted to BC Rich for the first thing obviously that attracted me was their crazy ass body shapes. Back in the 80s, like the Warlock in particular really had my attention. I was like, that's a freaking cool looking guitar. And as I got older, I discovered they were actually really, I really liked the way that the way that they played, and their build quality across all of their price points. And I've been a BC Rich guy ever since. You know, ever since they sold the company to the current ownership, prices have gotten pretty high on them, and I haven't gotten to buy any recently. Now with the used market being what it is, all the used prices, of all the cool, the used prices of all the cool shit that's out there, those are skyrocketing. So, I mean, any of the good BC Rich stuff right now is, it's not cheap, unfortunately. And my understanding is they're trying to fix that. The Eddie Stranger Things guitar, the import version that they did, was the first. Was the first thing that they had put out under the new ownership that was closer to that, because those things are $900. But now people are trying to resell those for $5,000, and I'm kicking myself for not buying one. Cool Guitar Gear says I have a BC Rich Mockingbird Heritage Classic. Beauty plays nice, and the active pickups are excellent. I've got a Mockingbird SE Evil Edge, what they called it. That was a good playing guitar. I upgraded the pickups and tuners and stuff in that one. I've had that thing forever. That's actually one of the ones I'm trying to sell right now. But I've also got a Mockingbird Special. That's got it's an import, but it's got the arch top and neck through design, and that one's a really, really good play guitar. I really like the neck on it. It's a little bit wider, but it's really, really thin. My next pedal is the Soldano. It will cover 3 pedals I use now, downsizing from 52 pedals on my board. A lot of people got a pretty big boner over that Soldano pedal. I knew it was coming out a couple of months ago, but I've got a buddy that works for their distributor, but unfortunately I didn't get to demo one, so I didn't really throw my name in the hat to demo one either, though, come to think of it. Yep, everybody's got a huge boner over that one, and the Chug, the Solar, their first pedal, I guess, is the Chug, which I think is their distortion. That one looks pretty cool too. Kurt Schmidt, I have a Warlock, Beast, and Mockingbird. Nothing wrong with any of those. I like the Beast is one of my favorite shapes. Next time I decide to go out and start playing in a live band, I'm gonna get a hold of a Beast, so I can play that one on stage. I miss playing the crazy shit like that on stage. Cool Guitar Gear says Rev is cheap with exchanging a pedal for the exposure. It's not free. Even emails on their products tend not to get returned. Yeah, they're in their defense, they're a pretty small operation. I think there's Scott, and there's I can't remember the other. There's only like three or four of them. It's a pretty small. They're a pretty small operation. So and honestly, they, most of the most of the channels that they did send that pedal to, for demo purposes, are way bigger than mine. But to your point, yes, I've always been a real big advocate. Free ain't free. Blocka Delighter, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not, says the Northern Mauler really had me interested. On the other hand, I already have a Strymon Riverside for my Plexi, which does the job. I'll be taking delivery of a Bogner Atma next week. Cool. I haven't heard of that Bogner pedal. The Riverside, I think that's like a multi distortion or overdrive pedal or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not real up on the Strymon stuff, but if I'm correct and that is what it is, I would, I would, you'd have a tough time prying me away from my Boss OD 200. That's a killer pedal. The GG and stuff. Have a great Saturday. It looks like he's out the door. See you, dude. Bruce Cool Guitar Gear says Bruce Willis sold his quote-unquote image for $200 million. Could be less. This means future CGI movies with him. A bit creepy. He did announce his, I think Bruce Willis did announce he was retiring, didn't he? I think so. So, if he sold his, if he was able to sell his image for $200 million, hell yes, I would do it too. That way he can keep showing up and, and remaining relevant and not have to do a thing. Fun fact, Bruce Willis was born in Germany. I did not know that. Getting here in another month or so, we're nearing the time of year where I watch all the Die Hard movies. I finally got my wife hooked on them last year. I sat her down and, the TV on Christmas Eve, and I said, you're watching this, you are going to see this as the best Christmas movie ever. And she watched Die Hard for the first time and loved it and said, okay, we have a new tradition. So now we're watching Die Hard every year. My knees hurt says Guitar Talk is great, but what is for lunch or dinner today? I need to go to the store but don't know what to get. I've actually been making my list this morning, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna make it today, but tomorrow, we are. Where our family is. I know the screen says I got to buy a turkey, and that's still true. But our family's kind of still deciding what we want our Thanksgiving feast to be, and if right now it might be leaning towards Italian. So if it's Italian, I got to buy ingredients to make lasagna, and I got to make lasagna, and then I got to make my famous vodka, rigatoni and vodka sauce dish that my wife loves, because she doesn't eat meat, so she won't eat the lasagna, so I'll have to make that for as a vegetarian or a meatless option. But it's been a long time since I made it, so I'm gonna go to I gotta go to the store and get ingredients and practice this weekend. That said, I did find a new recipe for a dessert that I'm gonna make this evening. You guys, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but you guys don't know that I gotta be careful with carbs and sugar. I'm diabetic, so I found a low carb, like a whipped cream cheese dessert recipe for this evening that I'm gonna try. That ought to be fun. Among other things, all the Mexican stuff that I love to cook, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Robbie Stingle had game day cheesesteaks from Jersey Mike's. I had a cheesesteak sandwich from Penn Station last night, actually. Two cans of Hormel chili, you can feed the entire family. Hormel chili actually does make great, like party tips. Seriously, throw it in the microwave with some Velveeta cheese or your favorite nacho cheese. Over 2, 3, 4 minutes or whatever it is, and stir it all together. If you've never done that before, it's pretty awesome. Gene Kelly says deli chicken. My wife actually loves, she. When I say she doesn't eat meat, she doesn't eat red meat. She won't eat beef or pork or seafood, or seafood's not red meat, but she won't eat it. So I mean, she'll eat chicken, and turkey, and that's about it. So, but she does, she does love a good rotisserie chicken from the deli. My knees hurt says I am my entire family. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm my entire family, but my wife, being such a picky eater, and me being such an adventurous cook, she doesn't cook that much at all. So I mean, I do most of the cooking in the house, and sometimes it's challenging to figure out what to make that we'll both eat. Let's see. Gene Kelly says, will you be doing a best of the year review? Like best products of the year, best videos of the year, best, the best of the year is a pretty vague, vague description when you're talking about YouTube. I guess the simple answer is no. I don't have any best of the year stuff planned. But if I do, that's not the kind of thing I would put out until last part of December anyway. And while I did, I've never worked that far ahead. I used to be able to work about three weeks ahead in advance. I can't do it anymore. I don't have that much time. Udon soup. I've never done that one before. My knees hurt says I buy beans in 20-pound sacks. No need for cans of beans. I wouldn't be opposed to doing that, but the problem is they take so long to cook, or they take so long to. You got to soak them and do whatever it is you got to do to dried beans, and it takes a while for them to get ready to actually do anything with. 12 and 24 hours or something. You got to soak them for some recipes. It just depends. And half the time I'm planning. I'm deciding what I'm going to make pretty much on the spot. Serenity says on my BC, I just upgraded to some cheap locking tuners and solid. I love how they did their wraparound bridge. I'm not sure which model you're talking about. I haven't seen any BC Ridge wraparound bridges, at least not any current ones. At least not that I'm aware of. Let's see. My knees hurt says I want a Chug Metal Zone comparison. Well, if I can get a hold of a Chug, I will be happy to do one for you, but I don't have one. Flux says, hope you will do another gifts not to buy the guitarist in your life video. I don't generally do this, but it's not quite, gifts not to buy, but there is something along those lines that's going up next week, right before Black Friday, that you guys will get to see. So. Nathan Denton says, do you think Jackson should be more competitive price-wise with Schecter, ESP, and LTD? I think they are, current. I think they're pretty competitive price-wise, to be honest with you. They're, Schecter, as we talked about earlier, as far as import goes, import guitars go, for value, across all price points, Schecter is going to be real hard to beat, and that's been they've been, in my opinion, they've been the front runners in that category for 15 years now at least. You know, that's just what they're really, really good at. Now, their downfall is, you know, you can buy a $1,500 guitar and not get so much as a fucking gig bag with it. So, you know, that is something that they do struggle with in order to keep their prices down and prices competitive. You know, though, to be fair, you are seeing more and more of that price threshold of, you know, what you pay for a guitar and a case coming with it. That's getting a lot higher than it used to be. You know, ESP, ESP is not even on the same level. I mean, you'd have to compare that to ESP's high end. The LTD line of theirs, pardon me, the LTD line, on the other hand, I'm real 50. I mean, they're good guitars. I've never gelled with them. You know, I mean, so I've liked some of them. I like, you know, like the you know, the EC1000s, those are cool guitars. You know, the MH1000s, those are cool. But, you know, at the same time, you know, every time I'm playing those, I'm like, man, I'd much rather be playing the ESP version, you know, because the EC1000s are about a half an inch thinner than the actual Eclipses that they are designed after. You know, I mean, there is a difference. So, as far as Jackson being competitive, I think Jackson's always been competitive with those. You know, their import stuff nowadays, that's, you know, is, you know, most of it's built in Mexico or Indonesia. You know, the stuff that, you know, in China a little bit, you know, most of it's Indonesia and Mexico, though. You know, especially because, you know, now they're owned by Fender. All that stuff, you know, the made in Mexico stuff especially is, you know, those are really, really nice guitars. You know, here. You know, here we got my Jackson Soloist that I just got a few months ago and did a video on not too long ago. You know, this one's made in Indonesia. And, you know, this guitar, brand new, I think is right now, or is around $700, $750, somewhere in there, give or take. I think I bought it used. I probably got a little bit better deal on it than maybe I would if I went to go look for another one right now. I think I paid $300 for it, which I thought was a great deal. You know, but it's $300. It's you know, it is a legitimate neck through build. You know, it came with the import Seymour Duncans, which surprised me. They didn't sound bad. You know, I'm still going to upgrade them to, you know, real USA Seymour Duncans just because that's what I want in here. And it's my guitar and I can do that. But beyond that, I mean, that's really the only thing I'm going to change on it. So, and I have the pickups. The only reason I haven't done it yet is because I fucking hate soldering. You know, and I haven't been able to talk any of my, you know, my best buddy, my best guitar buddy that is, used to be local. I used to be able to just go drop stuff off at his house. He'd take care of it and get it back to me in a day or two. But he moved down to Tennessee now, so I don't have him handy anymore. So now I gotta make new friends to get that stuff done. But and to be clear, I'm perfectly capable of doing it. I know how to do it. I just hate soldering. Anyway, so that's the long answer to your question. The short answer is, you know, I think Jackson is plenty competitive with all the other, you know, pretty much all the other brands in their genre: Schecter, LTD, Ibanez, you know, Solar, BC Rich, certainly right now BC Rich. Yeah, no, I think Jackson is doing exactly what they need to be doing. They have plenty of options at plenty of price points. Johnny Hood says, "Hey there, Robert, my friend. How are you, sir? Good to see you, or see your screen your screen name anyway." My knees hurt, says, "Seeing Die Hard once was plenty for me." Oh man, I could never get enough of that movie. I love Die Hard. Janice Lawless says, I just had cream cheese and olives. That sounds pretty good. Eddie Jr. says, Robert, any thoughts on the Warmoth 59 roundback neck profile? I got a great deal on a parts caster, but that neck, I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, I am not up on Warmoth neck profiles at all. I mean, they'll make pretty much anything you want that you want them to. And the other thing I got to give Warmoth credit for is they've got some of the best fretwork in the business. But I mean, if you're buying a Warmoth neck, if you're buying a Warmoth neck, I mean, get the profile that you want. Is there, a couple reasons. Number one, there's no reason why you shouldn't. If you're buying one new anyway, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't buy the right neck profile that that you enjoy the most. And number two, it ain't worth shit after you receive it. Because you got to find somebody that likes the exact same neck as you. And as you were discovering now, you bought a guitar that had one on it with a neck you don't like. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know what you paid for it. If it's a parts caster, I hope that you got into it cheap, because they're not worth much for reasons that what you're experiencing right now. So, hopefully, you got into it cheap. In which case, I mean, I'd recommend it if it's a bolt-on neck. If it's a parts caster. If it's a bolt-on neck, honestly, I'd just pop the neck off, sell it, and then put the money towards ordering, a neck from Warmoth that you actually want. I think you'd be a lot happier with it. Archer says, what studio monitor speakers do you use, if you use them at all? This recording rig that I'm sitting at right now has got a pair of KRK Rocket 5s, Gen 4s. Nothing. I hated the Rockets. I hated the KRK Rocket series forever. And then they came out with the Gen 3s, and finally, for the first time, I was like, okay, these actually sound a lot better than the old ones do. These are kind of growing on me. And they came out with the 4s. I like those even better, and now I don't hate them anymore. In this particular space, I mean, I had a really, really limited amount of space that I had to go with, or that I had to work with, because I got this wall here, and then there's a shelf literally less than an inch above the top of the monitor that it would hit otherwise. By the time after you factor in the monitor pads. So I had a really, really limited amount of space in here that I had to work with, but as it turns out, the KRK Rockets, for affordable studio monitors, they're what, $150, $180 a piece or something like that. Sound really, really good. I'm happy with them. They're at my other desk, where you guys have seen most of my videos recorded recently. That's out there. I got a pair of Cali Audio LP6s, and they just came out with a second generation of those here in the last few months. I haven't heard that. I don't really know what the difference is between mine and the new ones, but if you're looking for budget monitors, that's what you need to buy. Just buy the Cali Audios, because they're $150 studio monitors. They're 6.5-inch monitors, by the way. And they got huge cabinets. So they're 6.5-inch monitors, great big cabinets, and $150. They sound like you should have paid $500 a piece for them. They're really, really good monitors. What sold me on them is they're like the first year that Cali Audio was in business. And they're a bunch of, I think they're a bunch of refugees from like JBL. I think it is. They won't come out and say what company they all used to work for, but based on all of the the details that they gave us, that their experience, we kind of figured out it's probably JBL. Anyway, so their first year in business, they came into our office, and to show us these LP6s, and he had his MacBook with iTunes and all that stuff hooked up, and sit down in front of it, there's my iTunes list or whatever you want. So I pulled, he happened to have a Rage Against the Machine in there, Killing is the name, so I put that song on because I'm familiar with it. Heard it a gazillion times. I played it live, I don't know how many times. Real familiar with it. And I heard some things in that song through those speakers that I have never heard before. some little teeny tiny little details, and that's I ordered myself a pair by the end of the day because I was that impressed with them. So if you want my recommendations, those are them. That said, I am anything but a studio guy. My recording skills are real amateur. What I do, I mean, I record well enough to record, a short 1 or 2 minute gear demo of something, just so you guys can get an idea of what a pedal or whatever it is sounds like in a mix. And that's really the extent of my studio knowledge. I'm not a knowledgeable studio guy at all. RD says Buffalo Wings for Bills game. I love Buffalo Wings. While I'm not a Bills fan, they are growing on me. I'm becoming a pretty big Josh Allen fan. That dude is a stud. That dude is a serious stud. And he's definitely the best quarterback in football right now. I hope his injury is minor enough that he's able to play tomorrow. Because partially because I don't want to see him. I want to see him stay healthy and continue the season that he's having, and also because he's on my fantasy team. But and also we also just traded Nyheim Hines to you guys, and part of that deal was hoping him. I mean, he's in his 5th year. I'd like to see Colts obviously aren't going to get anywhere near the Super Bowl this year, so I'd like to see at least Nyheim get a shot while he's still in his prime. Let's see. My knees hurt says, okay, load it up on meal ideas. Got to run to the store now. Nice seeing the live stream back. Have a great weekend. Just to be clear, this live stream thing, I mean, I'm going to keep doing this through November and maybe into December a little bit, and then I'm going to go back to, I've decided that's as much as I'm going to commit to at the moment. I've decided that I'm going to, after that, I'm not going to commit to anything, but Jeff Seven says this Thanksgiving I'm cooking for 130, but I have help. Last year I got pounded. I only got to cook for about 5 or 6 people, but it's all the other stuff that goes into getting the house cleaned up and ready for for guests and stuff that my wife freaks out about. That is the bigger headache. William De Silva says, have you heard of Cerberus guitars? I bought a Cerberus recently, highly recommended. Also come with Guitar Armory pickups. Not familiar with them, no. That's a new one to me. Blocka Delighter says, I have an LTD H1007FR. Sounds like a 7-string with a Floyd on it of some kind. Really nice, solid instruments. Yeah, I mean, the LTD stuff is solid. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But, the 1000 stuff is, most of that stuff's right around, the same price that, it's right around $1,000. I just think, for my need, my purposes, my taste, I think, $1,000 I can get more or better value with some of the other stuff, and a neck that I like the feel of a lot better. Paul Ewing says Black Friday should be excellent. Accounts have told CEOs to do a total dump of inventory. Literally a total dump. Yeah. I hope so. We haven't received everything that we need to have for Black Friday, but I don't really sell the consumer crowd very often these days anyway, so I guess it's not really going to apply to me in my job, but it does apply to my industry. Michael D says, I actually like soldering. I find it very relaxing. I hate it. I hate it, especially, I got to solder 2 wires together. I got to figure out how to hold those 2 wires together at that specific point together, and then, the third, and then I got to, you got to get the solder on there, and then the soldering iron, and all. I just, fuck that. No thanks, not interested. Janice Lawless says, have a good day, everyone. I got to watch some videos. Eddie Jr. says, I don't mind soldering. I love the smell. Interesting. Okay. Paul Ewing says the import Duncans are exact spec right down to using American wire on the coils. That may be, but I still contend that that I hear a little bit more clarity between the Duncan designs and the American version. I don't know. I guess I'd have to do an A/B test though, just to see. That might be me experiencing placebo, to be honest. Welcome to the party, pal. A great line. Die Hard Forever. Was that the name of the last one? I can't remember. There's 4 or 5 of them now. 5 of them, I guess. Come out to the coast, have a few laughs. Oh, I love that movie. Jesus, John, what the fuck are you doing? I just bought Archer says I just bought a set of KRK Rocket 5 Gen 3. His wife said they're too loud. I told her she's too old if they're too loud. They do have level controls on the back of them. Whatever the input is that you're running them into probably also has a level input. Or a level control, rather. Robert, if you ever buy vanilla ice cream in the party pail, it gives you the opportunity to use a Die Hard line. Welcome to the party pail. I do this every time we buy one for a party. Now, vanilla ice cream, I like it, but my wife thinks buying vanilla over chocolate is some kind of sin. So, and we don't buy ice cream very often anyway. Like I said, I can't eat that kind of stuff. There's still hundreds of new world-class recordings with just a Shure SM57 on the cab. SM57 is a great microphone. I recorded an acoustic demo this week of just an entry-level Amazon brand acoustic. The brand's called Van Gogh Guitars, and like I said, I recorded the portion of the playthrough demo was nothing more than an SM57 right on the side hole, and it sounded kick-ass. And a lot of that has to do with the guitar's actually a really good sounding guitar, by the way. But so that obviously has a lot to do with it. But I think you guys will see that video on Wednesday. And when you see it, you'll pardon me. You'll hear what I'm talking about. Yeah, but the SM57 still has a zillion and one uses. Metal recordings all over the place are still using the SM57. SM57 right on the grill of a speaker cabinet. William Silva says Erebus, I guess that's how that's pronounced, was the model I meant to write. Cerberus. Cerberus is a brand made in conjunction with LSL and Guitar Marie. LSL, that's high-end shit there. Those are really expensive. Serenity says, I'm still planning on sitting on that pedal. All right, well, let me know. It's I think the first time you mentioned that was a couple years ago now, but I'm willing to accept it if you're sewing along. Wrong answer, Hans. Wrong answer. I love Bruce Willis, man. That dude's an awesome actor. Sure, if you guys have seen Armageddon, and I'm sure you have. Most everybody's seen Armageddon. That part where he's chasing AJ, the Ben Affleck character, he's chasing AJ all over the oil rig, shooting a shotgun at him. Way wrong answer. Boom. Oh man, I love Bruce Willis. I was sorry to hear that he retired, but I'm glad to hear that he sold the likeness of his face to be used in future projects. That's cool. All right. Well, you guys got quiet, and I don't have anything else to share with you guys. So it must mean it's time to wrap it up. So check out the new video tomorrow when it drops, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and yeah, there you have it. So thanks, guys. Have a good one.